how did that happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me just put this in.
How did that happen?
And
I find that my molecules were removed on one side and put together on the other.
was removed on one side.
Yeah, by the visitors. My molecules were removed.
They were removed?
Yeah, they removed my molecules on one side and returned them on the other, so that I was able to go through this.
But if they remove your molecules, what are you?
That's the point. That's how I got through the window and the glass without crashing.
Ah. So, the most interesting thing, though, from what I know of you, is this experience you had with this woman from Venus.
Yeah. That was my initiation.
Now, what did she look like, the woman?
Oh, she was about 5'4", and she was a pretty lady. I have a picture of her actually in my wallet.
Oh, you do? Okay.
She's a pretty lady, and oh no, I took them out. And she had bangs, and she had very large eyes. That's the first thing you would notice when you see her.
Where'd you meet her?
Well, I heard her first on the radio.
On the radio where?
Oh, one of those night talk shows.
Like Long John Neville?
It was Long John Neville, yes.
I love that show.
Yeah, well,
that was a big influence on me, the Long John Neville show. He got into the first, like, really out there stuff.
He had everybody on.
He did. He was the first, like the Coast to Coast, you know, everyone that's popular now, but Long John Neville.
So I have been having these experiences since I'm like 14 years old. I said, Jesus, I sure would like to meet a lady from Venus and find out what this stuff is all about.
So you heard her on Long John Neville.
Yeah, and I heard, at the time there was a hotel on 42nd Street called the Hotel Commodore. And she was to appear there. But I didn't meet her until later because I sent out like telepathic messages like I wanted to meet her. And lo and behold, I ran into a friend of mine who knew her because she was, she met his girlfriend at an audition. So Viv was trying to live the life of this girl who committed suicide.
Live? You mean she took over her identity?
Well, the girl committed suicide in New York Central Park. And they came down and took the girl's body up and replaced Viv in her place. They happened to be physical doubles.
Or was she molded to look like this girl?
Could have been that. I kind of think that too. I said that somewhere in the story.
She took over the girl's identity, but then kept the memory of being from Venus too.
Oh, of course.
So she was almost like a walk-in in a sense.
She wasn't a walk-in.
She was just
a walk-in is different than being physical.
A walk-in is the soul comes in. So she actually had a different physical body, but the same.
They looked alike.
So the identity was the same, but so she went back to the girl's apartment.
Well, no.
Wait, the girl commits suicide in Central Park. Viv beams down.
Not beams down. They came down in a ship, let her off the ship.
And they take the girl's body.
And they take the girl's body, right.
Yes.
And she...
and Viv just kind of walks out of Central Park.
Right, and went to the hotel where the girl was staying. And tried to live her life and tried to live her dreams.
She must have studied the girl a little bit.
Right? Oh, she knew the girl from a long time ago because they had been telepathically speaking.
Why did the girl commit suicide? You don't think Viv was involved in like that?
No. Well, in a sense.
Oh, that's a little suspicious. I mean,
in a way,
that's not very nice.
Well, no. In a way. Right? See, we could get into very deep areas.
I mean, they make the girl commit suicide, so Viv can have an earthly
they didn't make the girl commit suicide. The girl committed suicide on her own.
But why?
Because she was like about 28 or something like that, and she wanted to be a Broadway star, and she was depressed, and she just. But deeper than that. She was a sacrifice so that Viv could come in. Well,
I hope she was a willing sacrifice.
Listen, I put the two together. I had a son who committed suicide.
You did? And was he depressed?
Well, for whatever reason, he committed suicide. It's a long story.
All right.
It has to do with him and a girl and all kinds of stuff. But the thing is, after he committed suicide, it was sort of like a sacrifice for me. He was the middle child. And I found that out because trying to learn automatic writing went over to a psychic's house in New Jersey, and it was about 2 or 3 months after he had died. and my hand just wouldn't move. So the girl who was with me said, you know, he just lost a son. And everybody was sensitive there, and they said, he's here. So the lady of the house took a pillow, she was a psychic, and laid down and brought him through. And he said that he loved life, but he wanted to get on the other side to help me because I had all this talent and a mission and this and that. Now, he said he would die 10 times to see me go ahead. Now, I related that to the fact that...
How'd you feel about that, though?
Well, I didn't feel that it was his right to do so.
Right. You could have talked it over with you first and said...
Right, but he was supposed to do it.
Okay.
Same thing with this girl. This girl was born to come into this world, because I did a chart on her, by the way.
An astrology.
Yeah. Come into this world as a sacrifice. So Viv could take her place and bring her message.
So what happened?
Which is a spiritual message, actually.
Right, so Viv goes back to the girl's apartment, hotel room, starts to live the girl's life, has her memories as well, right?
Well, I don't know about has her memories. She just took over her life because she knew that the girl wanted to be a Broadway star. So she came in as the person who was going to be this person looking to be a Broadway star.
Okay. And then what happens with Viv? What goes on? What?
Well, what happened was somehow it leaked. She didn't mean to let the people know that she was from the planet Venus.
She didn't want to, but why not? I mean, that's like
well, she came to just try to, you know, to pursue this girl's dream as a route to accomplishing her own mission, which is simply to bring love to humans on Earth.
So how did it leak out that she was from Venus?
I'm not sure. I know that I met her, when I met her, it was through some friends. And it was kind of odd because they had told her I was an astrologer. And when I met her, I asked her, I said, I'd like to do your chart. So when I did the chart, I progressed it.
Well, how could you do the chart if you didn't know where she was born and when?
This is what I'm getting ready to tell you.
Okay.
I did the chart, and it happened to be the birth date of the girl.
Right.
So I progressed the chart.
But you thought she was the girl, right? You didn't know she was Viv. You thought
all I knew was she was Viv from Venus. I didn't.
Oh, you knew she was already Viv from Venus, not the girl from Central Park.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was, I did the chart, and I progressed the chart. And in progressing the chart, I found out that the doors to this person's life was over. So I went back to her and I said, "Look, this
you can see that in someone's chart."
Oh yeah.
Really?
If you know as much of it as I do.
What configurations show that?
Well, no, let's not get...
Okay, go ahead. That's a separate story. Go ahead.
So what happened was, she took a job, and she tried to pursue this girl's dream, wanting to be a star, you know, and somehow it got out. I'm not sure, I'm not clear on that, but when she was working at this place, which still exists, by the way, it's on 9th Avenue and 57th Street. It's called Morning Star, I believe.
Morning Star was a restaurant?
Yeah. She was a waitress there.
Okay.
And she went on the radio, you know, on the TV. What's the guy, Alan, what's his name? Alan...
Sherman.
No. Anyway, he had a TV program. And she went on that program, and the guy fired her because it was so much...
Burke.
Yes, Alan Burke.
Yeah.
It was so much controversy, and he didn't want that, you know, in his business. So she lost her job. She got out of the hotel room. She was living in the Henry Hudson Hotel on 57th Street. And I said, "Why don't you come and stay with me?" So she said, "Alan, this is a blessing," and she came to stay with me. And boy, that was something else.
But you fell in love then?
Well, eventually, yeah.
But what was she like? Did she talk about Venus? Like who's on Venus?
Of course. Well, we used to stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning and talk about everything. She talked about everything.
She talked about
time
life
and space and universe and
universes. What did she say about life on Venus?
Well, she told me a lot about life on Venus.
I mean, is there whole cities of people on Venus?
They don't. She said they're not clustered like we are here.
What are they?
And they live in houses that have no ceilings and no floors.
And just dirt floors and no ceilings.
No ceilings and no floors.
But they have walls.
I don't know about that. All I know is no ceilings and no wall.
Okay.
Which means they live in space.
Oh.
You got that?
Okay. So they're living in space above the planet.
Let me have this a minute.
Yeah, please.
Let me show you something.
Okay. I'm talking to Alan White here, who's just written a book called The Consciousness of an Extraterrestrial Experiencer. It's about to be published, and it's about his life as a contactee. And we're going into some of the details, especially about a woman he met from Venus that he called Viv.
That was her name.
That was her name. And Alan White's a musician. He's an astrologer. He's
this is for you.
Oh, he's a composer. He's a playwright. You could reach him at Galaxala at
Galaxala.
Galaxala at yahoo.com.
Galaxala.
Galaxala.
Well, I want to say, you just asked me a question.
Yeah.
I was convinced, I say here, of her validity by conversations that sometimes lasted well into the early morning, and by searching her belongings while she was out, not only to satisfy my curiosity, but also my sanity about her credibility.
Mm-hmm.
I found a log of her trip down here in a sort of a notebook written in an undecipherable language translated into English. I learned more from this being in the 5 months he stayed with me than I would have attending 5 colleges. Mm-hmm. About life, about dimensions, time and space, the universe, and universe, about God and God's hierarchy.
Mm-hmm. So she was quite an advanced being.
You better believe it.
And she only stayed with you for 5 months?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, she left because she said she was getting too close to me. She was getting everything, every day she was thinking about me, how I felt, what I did, and she was getting away from her mission.
Well,
so she moved to a hotel I think it was 72nd Street, somewhere around there.
Uh-huh.
And we would go out every day, though.
Uh-huh.
And one of the main things, she could change a person in seconds or minutes.
Uh-huh.
She used to write these signs and go out in Central Park and put them up on the bushes. I am Viv, I'm from the planet Venus. It's time to bring back sanity to the world. All
Wait,
kinds of,
so going from...
Is that me?
Yeah, I think it's you.
That was your call, I think.
Oh, okay. But going from, like, covering up the fact that she was here, she then went out and started to tell everyone that she's here. That's a huge shift from not wanting people to know to putting signs up in Central Park.
But she really came here to tell people what they had as human beings. You know, I mean, it was her mission to do that.
And did she succeed?
Oh yeah, there were many people who changed. Not only me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I saw it. I saw people change right in front of my eyes, and because she was very, very, she was a good orator.
So how long was she here for?
Well, she came here in 1960. I didn't meet her until 67.
So she was here. So in 1960, she took over that girl's identity in Central Park.
Yeah.
And you met her in 67, and you were involved with her for...
Through 68.
Only for about a year. And then what happened?
And then she left. She said, she said, Alan, I've grown inches inside because of you. She said, but I must go across the United States, even if I have to hike with my message. She said, our destinies are connected.
So then what happened?
So she went.
And you never heard from her again?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you did hear from her.
Yeah. She went to certain places. She went to Oregon, and she sent me 100 copies of a little book she wrote, which is called Between Two Worlds.
Really? Is there a copy still available?
Well, I have copies, but the original copy I had that she had inscribed, somebody stole it from me. But she sent me 100 of those books.
So you have a couple extra. Can we make some copies?
I can give you a copy.
Love to have a copy.
I think I have a copy of it. It's like a little Bible, you know.
Love to have a copy of that. Have you ever talked to Whitley about this? Whitley Street?
Oh, no, I've never talked to Whitley about that. But I've talked to Whitley about other things. You know? Whitley, I have a map. I'm a very mysterious person.
All right, all right.
I have a map that was given to me by a friend of mine who was my best friend at the time. He was a Vietnam veteran. And he called me one night and said, you ought to come over here and see what I have. So this guy is a pretty sober being, although, you know, he was in Vietnam. He's still a little messed up. And I went over there and he had a map.
Okay.
And the map was on the floor. And it was, I can hardly describe it to you. It's hard to describe it unless you see it. But it looked like it was torn from another piece. Mm-hmm. And it was in 3 dimensions. And it was made of sort of like, I'd say, burlap and pressed rubber. Mm-hmm. And it got hard, you know? Mm-hmm. And at first, when I looked at it, I saw 2 little beings on there holding like what do you call it, a chalice?
A chalice.
Yeah, or just a cup.
A cup, but like a fancy cup.
Yeah, and it was 2 of them, so immediately my astrological mind thought that was Gemini. But actually it was these 2 beings saying, you are welcome.
They were human-looking beings?
They were children, they were, yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, they had extremities like we have.
So they were drawn onto the map?
Not drawn. This map was made, it was molded.
Wow.
So it's 3-dimensional.
Well, what was the map of?
It's telling you how to get to where they are, but they just don't tell you where it is.
It's a star map.
Yeah.
The one that's sort of like Betty Hill.
No, this is a big thing like this. Whitley, that's why it came to me, because Whitley wanted me to bring it down to his lab in Texas.
Well, where is the map?
I have it.
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah, it's not leaving my house.
Can I go and photograph it at least?
Yeah, Posey came and photographed it. I have lots of pictures of it.
I'd love to see it. This friend of yours made this map?
No, we don't know who made the map, but it came from outer space.
How did your friend get the map?
Another guy from Vietnam came and gave it to him, and he seemed like he was in a rush. But what we found out later on, there was a host with this map.
A host?
Yes.
What do you...
It was a spiritual host with the map. And the map, it was a kid. And the kid had died after 2 or 3 years. And the kid was the host of this map. It's very strange because he came over and he wanted to get rid of this map. And he said to Larry, he said, maybe you can figure it out.
Where'd the kid get the map from?
I don't know.
Did it like manifest?
I don't know. It seemed to me that he said he made it, but he couldn't possibly have made it because nobody would have that concept on Earth.
So how big is that map?
I would say...
about the size of this room, the wall, about 3 feet?
No. It may be a little larger than that.
Oh, okay. It's about...
A little larger than that. But it's not square like that. Look, it's like this. It's torn off like from another piece. But it's amazing. Everybody has come to my house to see this.
I want to see that. Paula and I will go see it.
Okay, come and see me. So
it's like a manifestation. It's like a sacred relic almost.
And I'm wondering, because I have a whole chapter on that.
But let's get back to Viv for a second. Okay. How does the map connect to Viv?
It doesn't.
Oh, okay. That's just
it has nothing to do with it. That's what I'm telling you. I have all these mysterious things.
Okay, but let's get back to Viv. And so she went cross country. She wrote this book. She sent you copies. Then what happened to her?
Well, I'm trying to remember the year that it all stopped. She was crazy about my son. You know,
the one that eventually committed suicide?
No, another one who died. He also died. I lost 3 sons.
You had 3 sons? Do you have more children?
Oh, man, I had 14. Anyway.
You had 14 children?
Let's don't get on to that.
Did you have 14 children?
Yeah. 7 boys and 7 girls.
But from different women?
No, from the same woman.
Same woman?
Yeah.
You had 14 children with one woman.
Well, not something.
And then that's a whole...
That's a whole new story. That's a whole other story.
You still have 11 living children then?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's
that's a whole nother book, actually. You're pretty wild there back in the day.
What do they call it? Potent?
Okay, I guess so, but...
It's not wild, it's all one woman.
Guess it's all one woman. Wild, one woman. Anyway, okay, so that's another story. So Viv really liked your son, and...
and she said he had been on Venus at one time.
But he wasn't aware of that. Do you think you've been on Venus unconsciously?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so...
From some other place.
So what happened to Viv then?
So I was reminded of Reggie because the last time I wrote to her, I told her that Reggie had died. And I never heard from her after that. But I have a daughter-in-law who was very close to Viv. Tried to keep Viv from being put out of her hotel room by giving her rent and all that. You know, and they were very close. And she said also that my daughter-in-law was from Venus. So it seems that people here are coming from other, as a matter of fact, I think all of us have come from some other star system here. We're all from other.
Everyone knew she was from Venus. Your daughter-in-law knew that. Your son knew
Everybody
that.
in my family knew it.
And they believed it.
My family loved her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But
let me just describe her. She was 5'4". That's
do
how
I-
you describe her.
oh, that's right. Here.
Female form. Her hair is jet black, large expressive eyes that captured your attention right away. She spoke with a soft, asserted, intuitive knowing as she spoke to me one night in 1968. She said, "A thought is the most powerful thing in the universe. Whatever you focus on manifests. Bearing in mind," she said, "death is not inevitable. People die on earth because they see other people die. Who've seen other people die. Who've seen other people die ad infinitum." Oh, I see. People, because they see other people die who've seen other people die.
Yeah.
I see. So it becomes like a thought that they pass on to each
Yeah.
other. I see. Actually, I have some people coming to New York who believe in physical immortality, and you should meet them.
Oh, yeah?
They're into this. With it, you can refuse disease and live as long as you want to. The mind controls the body. It's not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
You can even program your DNA because your DNA listens to your feelings and thoughts. Talking about my consciousness being raised, this information took it beyond time, beyond space. Wow. She said, that sounds like a lot of wisdom.
Mm.
She said to me, "Alan, tell your food that what you want to accomplish in your body, your cells are very intelligent. As a result of that practice, I look at least 30 cycles younger than I should be. That's according to Earth Civilization Linear Program." I won't ask you how old you actually are, unless you want to.
She told me never to talk about it.
Okay, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. She had a way of putting thoughts in a nutshell, like, the moment in the subway is just as important as the moment in the cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite is, you can't pray for sunshine and know it's going to rain. You just might as well pray for rain.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's like about knowing and wanting. Is that what she's saying? If you really wanted it for sunshine, though, couldn't you manifest sunshine?
Well, what she's saying, you can't pray for sunshine and know it's going to rain. You can't want something to happen and at the same time negate it.
And you can't want something to happen and have a feeling of something else happening. You have to be one with what you're wanting. And
you have to know it.
You have to know it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Huh. So this is only a small part of this book, though,
Oh,
right?
boy, yeah. There's a lot of stuff in here, man.
But this is... So what do you think... So the last contact you had was 1968?
No.
No? What was the last... Oh, when was the last contact you had?
The last contact I had was December 23rd, 2006.
What was that? That was a psychic contact? Or
No, this was an abduction.
Oh, you were abducted in 2006.
Yeah, that was something else.
November 20... December, what'd you say?
December 23rd.
Was
Let
that
me tell you
the-
about
was
this.
that-
This is
wasn't
quite
that
interesting.
the same time the tsunami happened in
No,
Asia?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Could have been. Anyway, so you were abducted.
Let me tell you about this. This is really, really something else.
Okay.
It was the eve before Christmas Eve.
Okay. The 23rd.
And I had a Mexican girlfriend.
Okay.
And we had a little disagreement.
Okay.
And in my mind, I said, okay, I'm gonna let this girl go. But I didn't tell her. That night, this was December 23rd, it's close to Christmas. That night, I'm standing in front of my bed in my underwear, getting ready to get in the bed. Just like that, I'm outside in front of the house.
In your underwear.
In my underwear.
You go from your room to outside the building.
That's right. And I'm standing in front of it looking at my building. So I'm turning around, I look up, and half of the block is covered with a ship. And there's this...
On the Upper West Side?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on 87th Street. And this haze is going around me. So the next thing I know, I'm on the ship.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how I got there. I mean, I assume now that I was escorted, but that's not that couldn't be the case either. Okay, I get on the ship and there's nobody there. Nobody there. I'm on the ship all by myself.
It's where I think I've had that experience.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking around. I'm in a sort of a corridor, and there's this like padded wall that, you know, like crosses, and it was padded, and it's like silver. And there was a ramp that was going down like this. And I said, well, this is too far back in the ship for it to be an exit, so I'm going to go downstairs and find out, you know.
Were you in the normal state of consciousness, or was your consciousness altered?
No, this is my normal state of consciousness.
Okay.
And I'm looking around, and I can describe this, the sides of the ramp. There was like a round globe, and it came out like this to the bottom, and that was glass. The globe was gold, and on both sides that was what it was. And I started down there, right back in front of my bed again. It really freaked me out. So I'm like this.
You're
I'm discombobulated.
traumatized.
Traumatized, exactly.
Yeah. No matter how many times you've been abducted, it's still a trauma.
It's still, well, not all the time, you know.
Well, it's
but
be.
I hadn't been in a while. So I didn't know what to do, so I lay down, and I'm in and out of sleep. And when I woke up, the first thing I thought about, I was really nervous. I called Posey.
Posey's a fellow abductee or experienced.
Yeah, Posey Gilbert. He's been
and a very good musician.
Yeah, he's a good musician too. And I'm talking to him, and I'm crying on the telephone, and I'm saying, Posey, I was abducted. So he says, calm down. He says, calm down. He says, look at it as being a dream. I said, no, I cannot do that because it was too physical. So he said, well, maybe you didn't see anybody on the ship because you hadn't been abducted in a long time, and it's possible that your body would not be ready for it or something to that effect.
Yeah, whatever,
Anyway, so then I got on the computer. You know Marcy Gordon, right?
Yeah, Marcy, another musician, actually.
Yeah, Marcy, yeah.
Another abductee musician.
One of my favorite people in the world, Marcy. I called Marcy, and then I sent out emails to Harold and everybody, and they all had their different interpretations of what went on there.
On the ship and why you didn't see anybody.
Right. I want to tell you this. So Harold said that it was some kind of interdimensional change because, you know, there was nobody. How the hell did I get from the house into the street into a ship, you know? Anyway, and Marcy, she thought the same thing, something like it was another dimension or some kind of interdimensional thing. Anyway, what actually happened was, oh, I forgot to tell you.
Oh, it's okay. No, we can go back. What happened?
The first week of December, I got a check, you know, and I went to the bank. And on the way to the bank is on 89th Street and Broadway, and I live on 87th Street, between Amsterdam and Columbus. Now there's a little hill on 89th Street that goes down like this. So I'm going through the block, and I see this girl coming toward me. And you know, I just looked at her, and I turned around and looked at her because she was cute. And then I saw two people talking to a doorman. A couple talking to a doorman. I got a headache, and I don't get headaches. I wonder what was going on. So I got to the bank, and it turns out I had taken the stub rather than the check. So the girl said, this is not a check. So I went back home. It couldn't have been 5 minutes. And I came back to the block, and here comes this girl.
The other way.
Coming the same way, and the two people over there. So I said, wait a minute. And I did get a headache. So I stepped off the curb, and the headache sort of subsided.
It was like the whole scene happening again.
It did happen again. So I got into the bank, and guess who was in the bank? Michael and Trish Mannion.
Fellow abductees.
Yeah. So Michael says to me, had any experiences lately? I told him what just had happened. Well, he knows about this stuff. He says, you know what happened? He said it was a time split that allowed you to experience the same time frame twice.
That's sort of what deja vu is, in a sense.
Yeah.
But it was different.
I don't think it had anything to do with the later abduction, But
You could have, because you're already shifting time there.
Yeah.
Could have had some ripple effects.
Possible.
Anyway, so that happened. That led up to this abduction where you didn't see anyone on the ship. I thought you said you saw Viv.
No, I didn't see Viv.
Oh.
No.
So I'm saying, what was the last time you saw Viv?
Well, wait a minute. I want to finish this story.
Go ahead.
And what happened was, I talked to certain people, and I went out Christmas Eve. I was a wreck. I mean, I met people in the street, and I was telling somebody about that, and they were in a hurry. Although they were believers, they were in a hurry, and I said, well, let me give you my card. My hand was like this.
Right, because you were still...
And I'm looking around at the people, and I felt so strange, like, who are these people? You know, the people in the street.
Right.
But that was just momentary. It wasn't for, like, even 5 minutes, you know.
Right.
But what happened later on was, two tall, white, liquid beings, light beings, appeared in my house.
In your apartment.
And they told me they were on the ship. And that they didn't want me to see them. And they wanted me to know that the breakup with that girl was insignificant to the profundity of being abducted. And the reason they didn't want me to see them, because the shock of seeing them, how can I put that? You know, it lessened the shock of seeing them.
Right, right.
The shock for me.
You would have been more traumatized if you saw them on board. So just walking around the ship by yourself, or thinking you were by yourself.
So what they told me, they was at the other side of that ramp, watching me. And they gave me a little message. I got this in the book. I got the story in the book. They gave me a little message, and the message was, you are here to manifest, how did they put it? You are here to, it's in there somewhere.
You are here to...
Wait.
Okay.
I'll get it. Jesus, how can I forget that?
Is that later in the book? Oh.
No, it's in... you are here to manifest, and something about joy. Boy, how can I forget this? And what they meant was, everything that you do, it's just deeper than just that statement. Everything you do, give thanks to the cosmos for it. Therefore, you broaden your frequency, and at the same time help the universe.
Well, this is probably go up on YouTube, this interview, so people will get this message if you want.
Really?
If you want. But when was the last time you actually communicated with Viv?
The last time I communicated with Viv was the night of the show. Do you remember that Marcy got up and said, you know, when Hal asked me to do this.
The night of Culture of Contact that we did last summer,
yeah.
2007?
Don't you remember Marcy got up and said the second rehearsal that we had, that Viv had contacted her?
Oh, I don't.
You don't remember that?
No.
Well, Viv had contacted her and said she was glad that I had chosen an abductee, just so that the audience would know she was real. And Marcy was saying she didn't have the luxury of disbelief.
That's a good line. But going back to the whole Viv story, she went out to the West Coast. She sent you that copy of the book in '68. And then
she sent me 100 copies.
100 copies, and then she disappeared. What do you think?
I just didn't hear from her anymore.
For how long?
Well, she sent me articles, you know, from a paper out there, and pictures of her in the paper.
Out in where? Do you have those too?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I took some of that interview and put it in the book.
Actually, no. What I'm trying to get is, where is Viv now?
She's back home. Well, she's not really back home because that night I spoke to her. I also have that in the book.
Which night? The night of the Culture Contact?
Yeah, because she had told Marcy that she was going to be there spiritually.
Well, and she was, and then you talked to her telepathically.
That night.
So she went back to Venus when, do you think?
I don't know when.
I mean,
after... Because
in the 70s, the 80s?
Probably, I don't know. I really don't know when she really went back. But in contacting her that day and the next morning, she claims that she was on the way to some other place.
Another planet, another
Yeah.
civilization on another planet.
Yeah.
I see. Huh. So she was on another mission. So what do you think she looks like? You don't think she's aged at all, do you?
She hadn't aged. She said, I asked her, one time. She said, don't talk about age, but she said, if I was to calculate it, and she took a little time to do it. She thought about it and thought about it. She said, now she looked like a girl. She took over a girl's life who was 28 years old, and she looked 28. But she said, to our time, she would be 300.
And she looked 28. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So you think she'll come back?
Well, I asked her. I said, will you come back just if it's just to see me?
Yeah.
She said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. She said, but as long as you're on Earth, relaying my message, I don't have to come back.
So you feel like you're in touch with her all the time?
Yeah, I just recently was able to respond to beings who were telepathically talking to me all my life. I wasn't able to at will come back.
And now you are.
Now, yeah.
You developed the ability to naturally have telepathy with them. So what's the overall message that you want to tell people about your book?
I just want people to know that this is for real.
That ETs are for real.
That there are civilizations out there just teeming with civilizations.
The whole universe is full of life.
And the main thing I'm trying to get over is people have got to let go of the paradigms. And this is the Aquarian age.
We're in it already.
Yeah, and I'm the Aquarian of the Aquarian age.
Are you Aquarian?
I'm the Aquarian.
Why are you the I'm an Aquarian too?
I know that you are. That's why I chose you to do this.
I'm a 1 degree Aquarian,
Yeah,
1
well,
degree, 32
I
minutes.
got this. This is stories in here too. Everything is in there that I talk about.
Okay.
This was way back though. This was probably in the 50s. I was in a deep meditation. And I heard a voice, not of my own, say, "You are the Aquarian of the Aquarian age." And I had no idea what that was.
Do you know what it means now?
Yeah, I do.
What?
Well, it just means that I'm the personification of what the Aquarian age is about.
Because of your consciousness.
Which is knowing.
Knowing. Aquarian age is about knowing,
Yeah,
not believing. The Piscean age is about believing.
There you go. I got that in there too.
You do.
Yeah.
And the what was the Aries age was about sacrifice and
probably about war.
And war. Well, so is the Piscean age about war.
Well, the Piscean is the difference now. See, we in us moving out of time, being that we have to perceive time, we're gonna let go of thought as well.
Let go of thought, or the monkey
because
mind.
Thought, mind, time, all the same thing.
Who do you think is going to be the next president?
I think it's going to be Obama.
You do?
Yes. And the reason I think it's going to be Obama is because he came up too fast, and he is a cousin to Cheney.
He's a cousin to Cheney?
He's a distant cousin to Cheney.
Did you know that, Paula? Did you know that, Paula?
That was a smart guy.
Did you
I want to show him the picture. Keep
do
going.
you want to interview him?
No.
Anyway, he's like an 8th cousin to Cheney on his mother's side. His mother's grandfather was related to Cheney.
I didn't know.
So I'm saying this guy came up so fast that the reptilians have chosen him from a child and groomed him for this. And even if he wasn't thinking of it, they gave him the idea. They put it in his mind to become president.
Is he a reptilian?
Yes.
Obama's a reptilian?
He's of the bloodline, yes.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
We don't know yet.
You mean it might be a bad thing that he's
I don't.
You like him though, right?
I do. I like what he's saying. You know, I like the idea that he's trying to bring unity to everything.
Wow.
Now they're talking about this dream team. That would be the ultimate.
What would be the dream team?
Him and her.
Him
president and she vice president. Because her constituency, the people who follow her, and his constituency, the people who follow him, will come together. And here it is, a woman and an African-American man. You understand? And that would bring, and his idea is to bring the world together. Now, whether he's a bad reptilian or a good reptilian, I do not know.
I mean, he's a reptilian because Cheney's obviously a reptilian. Anyone could see that.
Yeah, obviously.
So, I don't know. I mean, there probably are good reptilians out there.
Of course.
We met that woman that had sex with reptilians.
Look, they're good reptilians. They're good aliens. And
There are
they're
good
bad aliens, some damn nasty ones,
Viv was a good
too.
alien.
Huh?
Viv, here, why don't you sit down, Paula, and ask a few questions?
Viv wasn't
You dropped this?
No, it's okay. You took it away.
Where's my? Oh,
Okay.
well, Viv wasn't a reptilian.
I want to see what you think about this. Let me put this up. Let's just listen and roll it. It's only a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to ask. It says how the military-industrial media complex almost fooled the world.
That's 9/11.
Check the mics.
You reading the
It
book?
says layered foreground. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Google 9/11 Geospatial Intelligence. Newton's third law of motion.
For reaction, there's an equal.
Yeah.
It's my favorite subject.
What's your impression of that? Do you understand what they're saying? They're saying that we didn't see a real airplane. We saw a computer-generated image, and then they have that superimposed as a crash. Because when you have a crash, you have crumpled up things. And that this airplane that we saw on 9/11, like you see there, it's like the wall heals up over it, so that what it really was a cartoon that went in.
Well, what I know of 9/11 is that it really was an inside job.
Well, this is actually saying it was a media job.
Well, people were down there that saw it, so.
Well, watch this, see? See, the airplane doesn't crash, it disappears. Where's the damage between the fuselage?
So what you're saying is what the people saw was a hologram.
Not even a hologram. They didn't see an airplane.
What did they see?
They saw an explosion. See, here's the explosion.
Twice? Twice? Because there was two planes that hit the tower.
Well, nobody saw this. This didn't go live. This came later. What went live? Well, let's look at it again and see.
You know, I'm getting a light from the window, so.
Oh. Maybe look at that one. They saw the explosion for sure, and they talked about the explosion, and that's all
Didn't
recorded.
they see the plane? Did they see the plane going into
the plane
the building?
idea wasn't introduced until later.
I saw the plane go into the building. Or at least I thought I did.
Well, that's... See, it says,
The
sure,
second one.
observe the watercolors of the plane in the foreground buildings.
That's interesting.
Now see, that's... Then the explosion happens later. But now watch how much explosion for that much of the action of the airplane. This is... Okay, there's the explosion, but then watch... I think what this is referring to is you've got a layered foreground here.
So what about that other one?
Now watch this.
That went into
See
the
this?
Pentagon.
Watch this. See how it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge reaction.
Very interesting. That they could computerize
See, now
something.
see, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
It's like this is way beyond of what we just saw before. It was way beyond what you'd expect of an engine. You know, the fuel. Jet one tank isn't going to do all that. And this is hollow aluminum plane versus steel columns and reinforced concrete floors.
Right. You know who was in this? Linda Cotilli.
Who's that?
Linda.
Who's that?
Linda Cotilli.
I don't know who Linda
You don't know who
Cotilli
Linda
is.
Cotilli is?
No, I don't.
She's the girl that Bud Hopkins wrote about.
Uh-huh.
The abduction in the book is called Witnessed. And it's about she lives down there by the bridge, by the Brooklyn Bridge. And they saw her being taken out of the window, and 14 people were on the bridge and saw it. And the cars stopped, and everybody got out of their cars and wondered why. And then somebody drew a picture of who was watching this. And anyway, Linda is a friend of mine, and she was in this.
She was in the airplane or in the building?
She was in the building.
In the building.
Yeah. And
Is she still alive?
Oh yeah. She got out? She came to my house about 2 months before this. And she had 7 relatives who worked in a financial company. And she was there for an interview so she could get a job as well. And she heard the explosion, and she said she took off her shoes because she had on heels to run down the staircase. But when she did, the staircase was full of glass, so she cut her feet all up going down the staircase. Finally, a fireman came and picked her up. But she was escorting, she said, a black...
She was on the 14th floor?
No, she was higher than that. I think it was like the 100th or 101st or something.
So she ran down 100 floors?
Not exactly, because she met the fireman coming up, somewhere in between.
And then what?
And he picked her up, but what she said that she was...
And took her out?
Yeah, she was helping an old black man down, she said. And she said the last thing she remembers was when the fireman picked her up, her hand sliding out of his, and she wondered if he ever made it, you know. But...
wow.
Yeah, and,
wow.
But she sent me an email, said, and she was so happy that I was her friend and all that. And
is she still alive?
Oh, sure. She got out.
I wonder what she would think if we showed her this. But see, here's...
She's a kind of when she goes on television, they put her in silhouette. She doesn't want to be seen or known. Not observing a real object.
But a computer-generated image.
Well, what would be the motivation for this?
See?
Yeah.
It just goes in like to mashed potatoes. September Clues talks about this a lot.
My favorite subject, consciousness. Wow.
It makes you sad, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I always knew that, you know, every time Bush's popularity wanes, they come up with something to get the empathy of the people, so that he would agree with them.
livevideo.com/associate. livevideo.com/social services is where you can see something called September Clues. And September Clues talks about the television fakery that was done during 9/11. I've got DVDs on this.
Well, there's a lot of fakery to 9/11.
The channel you are trying to view may not exist or is inactive.
They don't want you to see it anymore.
Channel views.
They just took it down, isn't
Hmm?
it? Maybe they just took it down.
Well, this isn't YouTube, so I heard they weren't taken down here. But it seems...
How you doing now?
I'm good. This is Sunday.
Anyway, that's
really something. If it
Have you ever heard of that, though? There were
Not before.
no planes that went into the World Trade Center. It's a big thing, and all of the sites that put this up are
the
taken
question I
down.
would ask is, how would all of the what do you call those people up in the towers? How was all of those alerted to physical planes coming into the tower?
They saw it on television.
No, I'm talking about the what do you call those guys?
The traffic control?
Yeah, the traffic controllers.
What about them?
That's true. How did they
How did they? You know, they got the physical on their radar.
No, the big thing was that they didn't. Remember, they said, how come they didn't do anything? The reason they didn't do anything is because no airplanes were coming. It was a missile. Missiles are directed energy weapons. You can do research on the internet and find these sites, and you can see the same kind of damage that are done by weaponry that was done under Ronald Reagan with the Star Wars.
So what do you think the motivation for that was?
Well, sadly enough, to divide people and to start a war and to sell weapons. And
Well, I knew that part of it.
right.
I mean, I know that they did it because every time his popularity wanes, he comes up with something big.
I think he's just a puppet. I don't think he's a big deal.
Oh, no. I mean, it goes so far beyond. It goes off planet what's going on.
Right.
Where does it go off planet?
Ah, that's another story. When you read the book, you'll see I wrote about that.
Okay, the 9/11 stuff goes off?
I didn't even mention 9/11. I'm just talking things in general. You know, goes off planet. Whatever's going on Earth, because there's more than just 33-degree Masons. They go to 360 degrees, and it goes off planet. And the person who's the most powerful on Earth now is a guy, they call him the Black Pope.
Black? Oh.
Yeah, somebody told me that, but I don't know
Who's
about it.
that?
I don't know.
And they call him the Pindar.
Who's that? Who are you talking
Yeah,
about?
now he's Adolfo. They got rid of the Black Pope that was under...
The Pindar means penis of the dragon.
And who is this guy?
You want to get back on again, Alan?
He's above the Pope.
Is there a picture of him?
And I don't know, I've never seen him. And it goes off planet because he's in touch with the beings out there who have the technology and the ideas and everything. And they have the largest archive in the world at the Vatican. And they have all this technology. They could do all sorts of things, but they use it, and this is evil. They use it to keep us in the dark. You're going to come up on that, Alan, in the book.
But what if we're investing through hedge funds and things, and we have the weapons? We've been hiding them, and the whole UFO thing, or a lot of it, has been a distraction to cover it up. They say, oh, these crazy guys over here. Or if you see an advanced spaceship going around that's actually from us, and they don't want it to be seen, then they call it a UFO, and then they laugh about it and toss it off.
Yeah, well, you know, the Germans in World War II had a UFO.
Yeah, but the Germans, you know, they sold Adolf Hitler to do his rocket program with something called Frau im Mund, which was done essentially like by Hollywood. They sold him to put money into it on a Hollywood production.
Another thing I might say.
No, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were showing him theater, drama,
right.
Hollywood, an image.
All of it
Nothing
is
real.
possibly Hollywood and image.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was just telling somebody about that the other day. Anyway, there is a city on the moon, and there's a colony on Mars.
I don't know anything anymore until it's my experience.
Yeah, well,
You know, when it's your experience, then you put a lot of credence by it. Otherwise, you wind up listening to a lot of people filling your head with a lot of ideas. I trust the Viv story just because you have a lot of love about you. You know, a lot of peacefulness. So it seems as though any knowledge isn't because it's from some authority from another planet, but it's how does it work in your own life? Does it make you more loving and accepting?
Well, she raised my consciousness
or like
for
this,
sure.
But this raised my consciousness for sure. You know, when I started to see these airplanes, or the lack of airplanes, going in, you know, that was a big wow moment.
Yeah, well, I've had my wow moments.
Wow. A wow moment.
Yeah, I know how controversial it might be about Viv, but I went through all of that, you know. What about the one that went into the Pentagon?
That was a missile.
That was a missile?